Welcome back to Retro Racing Reports from Salem Speedway out of Salem, Indiana. Who knew? Whole lot of people knew, apparently. We have a generic event program here from 1972. My guess is they ran a singular program with an insert, because we have an insert for today's race. There are several articles in here, very nicely done. A lot of pictures that cover the history, so we'll hit a few of the articles and put up a bunch of pictures, and you'll see a few familiar faces along the way. Now, our friend Tim Kennedy did not go to the Salem event. In this time period, he was writing for National Speed Sport News. And so this fella named David Venus, V-E-N-I-S, sent him this program along with a nice note explaining what happened in the event. And when we look at the results from the sprint car race, you'll notice a little different looking handwriting. Well, that's because Mr. Venus sent out this program to Tim Kennedy as part of his reporting. So here we go. Welcome to Salem Speedway. We invite you to enjoy with us the 25th year of racing at the world-famous Salem High Banks. The 1972 schedule calls for 12 events, by far the largest number ever set for a single season. Salem's silver anniversary year is not only the largest ever, but also the most diverse. Returning, of course, are the popular USAC sprints and ARCA late model stocks. Both will host two events, including the 20th annual Joe James Pat O'Connor Memorial Race for the sprinters and the 5th annual Salem 500 for late models. The exciting USAC midgets return again this year to provide a sequel to their exciting event of last season. The exciting USAC midgets return again this year to provide a sequel to their exciting event of last season. 6 open competition events for new, late model, and sportsman cars are scheduled, including the popular Sterling 50 and Midwest 300, a new this year attraction featuring the main event run in 3 100-lap legs. All open competition events for new, late model, and sportsman cars this year will be co-sanctioned with the American Speed Association, a rapidly growing organization boasting a large membership of top drivers and cars. Additionally, ASA will sanction a Super Sprint event here as well, marking the first appearance of the Supers on Salem High Banks in several years. We sincerely believe that Salem's 25th Summer of Auto Racing competition will be its best. Thank you for your support in years past, and please accept our invitation to visit us whenever you can in 1972. Looking back, feature article. In its 25 years of existence, the Salem Speedway has enjoyed recognition of being one of the most unique and renowned tracks in the country. Any history of auto racing since World War II would have to devote a sizable chapter to the activities at Salem, as most of the nation's top drivers competed here at some point in their career. As 25 years span a third of the total history of American auto racing, it's not surprising that Salem has developed a strong racing heritage and tradition. To share some of Salem's heritage, we've included a number of old-time photographs throughout this program. Whether this is your first visit here, or you were there at the races as the photos depict, we hope you enjoy them. In a way, the Salem High Banks predated super speedways like Daytona and Talladega by nearly 2 decades. Built in the days when a mile track was the largest around, except for Indianapolis, the Salem layout must have been intimidating when the American Automobile Association's big cars first arrived at the track in June 22, 1947. Tommy Hinnerschitz, a Pennsylvania Dutchman who continued to win races for 14 more years, he won on that day and 2 more times before the busy season ended. Since that sunny day in June of 1947, many more young men have been fleet enough to reach the checkered flag first. And here's a short honor roll list of the sport. Ted Horn, Henry Banks, Troy Ruttman, Dwayne Carter, Jack McGrath, Joe James, Mike Nazaruk, Bob Swikert, Pat O'Connor, Eddie Sachs, Parnelli Jones, A.J. Foyt, Jim Hurtubise, Bob and Al Unser, Mario Andretti, Curtis Turner, Charlie Klotzbach, and many, many others. It's been said that if a man goes fast at Salem, he can go fast anywhere. Well, in earlier days, as now, that statement is true because a man must drive nearly as fast in the turns as down the straights, maintaining smoothness and consistency, not being intimidated by those big, steep, unforgiving banks. Perhaps today's younger drivers would be amazed if they could see one of the immortal Dwayne Carter-Troy Ruttman sprint car duels of the early 50s. Both men driving skinny-tired cars at incredible speed around a track bordered only by a single height of wooden guardrail. No roll bar or cage, no fuel cells, just a rudimentary lap strap and bushels of courage. Conversely, what would Ted Horn think of stirring Dixon-Bettenhausen battle running lap after lap, wheel to wheel at speeds unthinkable in Horn's era? Today's racing may be a little bit closer and certainly just as hard fought. Progress has thankfully also made it safer. Salem's heritage and tradition, though, is a lot more than nostalgic I remember whens. The tradition continues in that tomorrow's Super Speedway, Indy or National Sprint Car Champ, is probably out there in front of you today, nervously readjusting his goggles for the 20th time, waiting for the consi to begin. Because of that, watching is a privilege we may all enjoy. The program insert with the official entry list has this brief welcome letter on the opposite side. Welcome to Don Chapman's Greater Salem Speedway for the 20th annual running of the Joe James Pat O'Connor Memorial, the oldest continuously run race of the United States Auto Club Sprint Car Division schedule. A win in this race carries a considerable amount of prestige for the winner, and the event is always hotly contested. Only 6 drivers have ever won it twice, and one of those is here today to make a try at becoming the first 3-time winner ever. Some great ones have tried, and we wish the best of luck to Raleigh Beal in his attempt for 3 today. A little about the Chapmans. By way of introduction, somewhat belated, maybe, but nevertheless an introduction, a word or two about the new owners and promoters. There are actually 2 Don Chapmans, Don Sr. and Don Jr., both natives of Louisville. The Chapmans have been living in Phoenix, Arizona, where they operate a successful mobile home business. So why buy a racetrack? Well, both have been avid racing fans and have wished to get inside of racing for some time. Don Jr. himself, who handles most of the promotional details, has had what he calls very limited driving experience on the jalopy level. With the purchase of this famous track, they feel that they are realizing a long-time dream. Both Chapmans get considerable help from the women of the family, from Nancy and Elizabeth, their wives, adding quite a bit of help in running of the racetrack. Don Jr. says one big improvement coming in the future is the installation of a concrete retaining wall in front of the pit area with wheel fencing above it. Owners and drivers feel that such an improvement would make it possible for more of them to pit safely in front of the main grandstand, where they would be closer to accessory trucks and such, and also where the fans would be able to see more of them. The next big event here at Salem will be our biggest of the year, the 5th annual Salem 500. This 250-mile arc of stock car race is always one of the most grueling of the year and brings out the best in entries from a 5-state area. Joe James, Pat O'Connor Memorial Race. Raleigh Beal became the 6th man in the 19-year history of the Joe James Pat O'Connor Memorial Race to score a 2nd victory in the annual Sprint Car Classic. Beal's October 3, 1971 win matched his 1968 effort and placed his name in the record books next to former 2-time winners Pat O'Connor, Eddie Sachs, Parnelli Jones, A.J. Foyt, and Mario Andretti. Beal's victory in last year's event came only after an early race tussle with Larry Dixon, intent on gaining championship points to close on then-leader Gary Bettenhausen, who was absent due to a championship division schedule conflict. Dixon and Beal charged through early race traffic to catch leader Darrell Harrison on the 13th circuit, with Dixon then slipping away from Beal to open up a full straightaway margin by half distance. Ironically, Bruce Walkup, driving Bettenhausen's Thermo King Sprinter, turned out to be the spoiler for Dixon, as the car broke a torque tube on the 31st lap just as Dixon prepared to lap him. It spread oil on the track and sent Dixon into a spin through the 4th turn. Well, Dixon managed to keep his engine running and return to the race, only to have been passed by the entire field, making catching up an impossible task. Beal finished the 50-lap distance with a comfortable half-lap lead over Don Nordhorn, who finished second after making a brilliant last-lap pass of Darrell Harrison. Behind Harrison, in third, Charlie Masters fourth, and Sonny Yates fifth. Be sure to like and subscribe and share this video with your friends, and let folks know that Real Racing Reports is out there. They're just little racing time capsules